Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Daily Fix. I am your usual host, Advocate Tulo Hoyani. It is coming out in dribs and drabs, but slowly, one step at a time, we are getting there. It is now becoming very, very clear that the version that we see playing out in court now is a false version. It is a false version. That is what it is. Nothing more and nothing less. Let us look back at how it all began. According to one of the investigators who was very closely associated with this case, from the very beginning, after Senzo was shot, it would appear that there was a lot of tampering with the scene. A lot of people who were not supposed to be there came into the scene. Sibia's presence on the crime scene cannot be explained. He had no business being there. That was the work of junior officers. So it is that we have this narrative that the crime scene was tampered with. But from the very beginning, there was a big disagreement, a huge disagreement between the junior officers and the senior police officers. Shortly after docket 636 was opened, people just parted ways. The juniors went one way and the seniors went another way. Nobody believed the narrative that was being pursued by the seniors or the senior police officers, that there had been intruders into that house. So it was that the police force was stuck with a docket they could do nothing with. From 2014 to 2019, a period of 5 years, the police, the prosecution, were stuck with a docket they could really do nothing with. Because there was a lot of disagreement, and the junior police officers who were actually and physically involved in this investigation and who knew better what was going on the ground had simply told police management that we are not going to proceed on the basis of the theory that there were intruders into that house, when we know for a fact that there were no intruders into that house. So the story that there were intruders in that house does not stand the test of time. It is, to put it simply, it is a lie. It was concocted simply to shield the people responsible or the person responsible for the killing of Senzo Meyiwa. So on and on it went for 5 years. 5 years later, around 2019, docket 375 was opened. Because the junior police officers had always said there were no intruders into that house. They identified exactly what happened into that house. That in fact, the gun that shot Senzo Meyiwa came from Longwetwala. Longwetwala had been dispossessed of that gun by Senzo. Senzo gave it to Kelly. Kelly Kumaro started playing with the gun and the gun fired. And that is how Senzo lost his life. So need we bother ourselves with these two versions? Because clearly, one version is a ruse. The version that there were intruders into that house was simply concocted to divert attention away from the real issue, the real facts of how Senzo made his life. This is why we have this, strange situation of two dockets. And I've made up my mind, I've concluded that there's no need for two dockets. We don't have two dockets. I have assessed the evidence in 375. with all the, with all the background information that I'm getting. And the only credible version that can be put forward is that we have docket 375. Now, the most important thing will be, where is 375 now? Where was it opened? Who opened it? And where is it gathering dust? Because you see, a police investigation cannot just be abandoned, especially when the perpetrators of a crime have been identified. In the case where, culprits are never found, sometimes police dockets end up, gathering dust in police stations. But in this particular instance, 375, the people, the main players in 375, the people implicated in 375 are still here. So let us not waste our time coming up with version after version. Let us follow docket 375 and say, where is it? What does it say? Who has got custody of it? And what is it doing about it? Let us confront these people and just, in effect, rubbish any suggestion that there were intruders into that house. Because there were simply no intruders into that house. And the people behind the story know it. There were no intruders into that house. So I am not going to be convinced in any manner. I've never been convinced in any manner, especially with all the information that is coming to my attention. I'll never be convinced that the people that we see in the Pretoria High Court are the people who killed Senzo Meyiwa. Not when there is this other credible theory. And the intruder story, to me, looks shaky. Somebody has been scapegoated here. And we need to know why. And somebody must take responsibility for this. I am very, very worried about the fact that, you find people sitting in a courtroom. People are supposed to have made confessions. But when, on the other hand, we have, tons and tons of evidence that somebody else did it. And these people, among other things, are supposed, to have confessed their guilt. Only for them to turn around in court and say, we never made any such confessions. We have a long way to go. But I have, without any, doubt, established that there were no intruders into that house. So I'll not bother myself too much about what is going on in this trial unfolding in the Pretoria High Court, or what is not going on there. Well, I'll keep an eye at close watch on things. But I know there's a parallel trial that is coming. We'll see where this one takes us. But there's a parallel trial. There's a parallel narrative. And that parallel narrative is that there were no intruders into that house. Let us look into that and stop wasting our time looking in this direction and that direction, when there's only one direction that we must look into. And that is the fact that there were no intruders into that house. And this is manifestly clear. I'm talking to people who were on the ground, investigators who were on the ground, who know it all. That there was this, huge fight between junior police officers and senior police officers. The senior police officers wanted to sweep it under the carpet, and came up with a story that there had been intruders into that house. The junior officers knew the real truth of what had happened, knew the real truth of what had happened on that fateful day. So there's always been this back and forth. But at the end of the day, because the seniors are senior, they ended up prevailing. This is why we see their own version of events unfolding in the Pretoria High Court today. But there is another counter scenario. There is another counter scenario that will soon play itself out in court. And we'll see what then happens. Are we still going to say these people, say for argument's sake, these people have been found guilty? Because chances are they're going to be found guilty. What then happens to 375? What then happens to 375? Should the people involved Kelly Kumalo? What will happen to her? Because 375 implicates her as the person who shot Senzo Meyiwa, whether by mistake or otherwise. For all intents and purposes, that is beside the point. What will then happen? Will we still maintain that the people that we see in court today are the true killers of Senzo Meyiwa? When, another trial might just come to say, no. Actually, this is how Senzo died. This is a travesty of justice. It is a travesty of justice. But something must be done. Something must be done. I'm working very closely with people in and around this investigation, and as I go forward, it is very encouraging. It is very encouraging that people are coming up with information, and the story is building up now. The trial that is unfolding in the Pretoria High Court, I just want to see what its fate is going to be. Because no matter what the outcome is of that trial, there will always be 375. There will always be this theory that there were no intruders. And there's a real possibility here of running the risk of convicting innocent men. South Africa, this is a huge injustice. We cannot let, in law they say, it is better to let a guilty man go free than to convict an innocent man. That is what it is. You'd rather let a guilty man get away with murder rather than convict an innocent man of murder. Having said that, let me thank you for the subscriptions that I'm seeing, the views that I'm seeing. I am humbled by the support that is coming from you. Please continue to watch this channel. Please continue to subscribe. I look forward to your support. Let us move forward. I'm looking forward to meeting Tifo very soon. There is also that other investigator, who was responsible for opening docket 375, one of the juniors that I'm talking about now, who opened docket 375. We'll get it from him. He will tell us why it was opened. And let me just give you a taste of what is coming. It was opened because that was the only true version on the table. That was the only true version that the investigation had disclosed. Anything else was made up, was sucked by somebody to shield the real perpetrator from the hand of justice. Having said that, let me thank you for watching this video, and please continue to watch, and please kindly subscribe. I would always implore you to subscribe. It is very important. Thank you very much.